Alright, I'm going through Pei Chun Public School Primary 6 Term 1 Weighted Assessment 2024. This is the Booklet B part where we are going to answer all the open-ended question from question 17 to 24. So let's begin with the first question, number 17. So oxygen is needed by different parts of the body to produce energy. So this statement is trying to tell you respiration process taking place. So describe how the oxygen in the environment reaches the different parts of the body. So for these are the concepts that you will need to have to be able to answer this question. So the respiratory system allows the body to take in oxygen, and the circulatory systems transport oxygen to all parts of the body. So over here you can break down into different parts that are involved. Since this is a descriptive question, the things that will be involved in the nose, windpipe, as well as lungs. So during this process, right, the oxygen will be in the lungs and it will interact with the circulatory system because the oxygen in the lungs will be absorbed in the bloodstream carried by the blood. Okay, the bloodstream carried by the blood itself. And what happened? The heart will pump them to all parts of the body. The heart will pump them to all parts of the body. So if you recall, this is actually the exact diagram that you need, but you need to put them into words right now. And this part will be, okay, this body. Okay, you need to be able to describe how oxygen goes into here, here, and into the body. So for the first point will be air enter through the nose, windpipe, lung. Second point, at the lungs, oxygen is absorbed into the bloodstream and transported to the heart. Okay, this is describing this part over here. Let me highlight them. This to this. Okay, and another key part that you need to write is oxygen is absorbed in the bloodstream, and this takes place at lungs. This is a key portion. The third point will be the heart pumps oxygen-rich blood to all parts of the body, and that will be all for this question. So these are the three main points. So let's move on to question number 18. Sherry have two magnet A and B. When you try to put the two magnets together as shown in diagram 1, magnet A move and stay in a position. Okay, can you see it's trying to move away from the magnet. Okay, so this shows you what? This shows you repulsion taking place. Okay. Based on the observation, which of the following diagram shows the correct position of the poles of the magnet? Choose your correct answer by putting a tick. Okay. The intended answer for this question, right, is actually this. Okay, so you have the south over here and the north over here, and what happened to the other piece of the magnet? The south is facing. That's why they will repel each other because the light poles are facing each other. But some of you may also argue that actually the other two also possible answer. If magnet B is in this way, okay, magnet B could be in this way, okay, then their light poles also facing each other, right? Then they also repel each other. And if some of you may say that the magnet B could be in this manner, okay, okay, then they will repel from the top to the top and the bottom to the bottom. So these questions, while the intended answer is this, I feel that maybe when the teacher is deciding this question, they forgot to draw how B look like. So there is kind of a missing information. But for this question, we will just have to take it that this is the answer for now. Okay, explain why magnet A could not stay in a position as shown in the diagram 1. Why it cannot stay attracted to each other. Okay, it's because they are repelling. And how come they repel? Their light poles are facing each other. Okay, this is a key concept. Okay, this is a key concept. So because of this, that's why they repel. They cannot stay together facing each other. Okay, so this will be something like you can say, you have to state A and B. Okay, because that is with reference to the questions are facing each other, so they repel each other. Okay, that will be answer for part B. So let's move on to this part. Okay, Sherry conduct an experiment to find out how the strength of the magnet is affected by the number of times the magnet is dropped. Okay, so take a look at this statement, just this statement, to find out how the strength of magnet is affected by. Okay, normally after the word right, to find out, this will be a change variable, but this is not the case here because they use the word affected by. So in fact, the strength of the magnet is your measured variable. Okay, it can be strong or weak in terms of its strength, and the change variable is actually this. This is actually your change variable. How the strength of the magnet is affected by the number of times it drops. If you drop more time, maybe it becomes weaker, maybe it becomes stronger. Okay, let's take a look at the data. The data will tell us more. Okay, she dropped the magnet from the same height 10 times, then she used the magnet to hold a stack of paper on the magnetic board as shown. She counted the maximum number of pieces of paper that the magnet can hold without falling. So you have a magnet with that's attracting the magnetic board, and you have a stack of paper. So she repeated the whole experiment when the magnet dropped 30 and 50 times. This is the result as shown. As mentioned, this is the change variable. Okay, so this is something that she's measuring. Okay, so state how the strength of a magnet is affected by the number of times it is dropped. Okay, so as you know, the number of times it is dropped is a change variable, and the strength of the magnet is the measured variable. But it is difficult for us to measure the strength of the magnet. You cannot say one magnetic strength, 2 units of magnetic strength. So we have to use another type of measurement, okay, to tell us the strength. Okay, 8 pieces of paper and 3 pieces of paper. So the concept behind is really to find out the cause and effect. The cause being the number of times it is dropped, the effect is the strength of the magnet. And the key idea is that the stronger the magnet is, the more it can hold. Okay, the more paper it can hold. So over here, you can take a look at this part. If you drop more times, or as the number of times the magnet is dropped increases, right, this way, what happened to the strength? This is stronger because it can hold more. This is weaker, it can hold less. So the strength, right, actually decreases. The strength of the magnet decreases if you drop more times. So this is one way you can write, and this is exactly what they are looking for. They are looking for relationship. This is a relationship question. So normally in a relationship, you say as the change variable increases, this part can be decreases. The measured variable increases, decreases, or remain the same. Okay, depending on how the data is presented to you. Okay, so for this part, it's either number 1. Okay, as the number of times the magnet is dropped increases, okay, from 10 to 30, the strength of the magnet decreases from 8 to 3. From more paper it can hold to less paper it can hold. But you have to use this because the question is asking about the strength of the magnet. You cannot say as the number of times the magnet is dropped increases, the maximum number of paper it can hold decreases. You cannot answer in this manner. That means you cannot use this, okay, because they are asking you for the strength. Okay, so this is out. Okay, you have to use this variable to answer. Okay, so another way is you can actually flip the whole relationship. So as the number of times the magnet is dropped decreases, that means you are looking from 50 to 10. Okay, this should be 50. 50 to 10, you are looking at the strength increases from 3 people up, you can hold up to 8 people. This is another way to present it. But normally we will actually read the information from top to bottom. So 10, 30, 50, right, increases. Strength of the magnet decreases, 863. We'll write it in this way. The strength decreases. This is a better way to actually read the information. Okay, moving on next. Okay, this question is really about properties of material. Okay, Jenny conducted an experiment using strips of the material A, B, C. She hung the strip at the same height above a container of oil. The diagram below shows how the strip made of material is hung. Okay, it's hung in this manner and it's dipped into the oil. After 5 minutes, Jenny measured the distance traveled by the oil up each strip and recorded the result in the table below. So For A it went up 6, for B went up 12 cm, for B went up 12 cm, for C went up 2 cm. Kitchen towel, now you have a material, it's used to absorb excess oil from fried food. So it's trying to tell you the material that I'm going to choose between A, B, and C to make the kitchen towel, right, is going to do this function, absorb excess oil from fried food. Which of the material is the most suitable? It must be B, because over here it travel up the most. Means it's trying to tell you it can absorb the most oil in this case, and you want a kitchen towel to be able to absorb the most oil, so that it can does its job in this manner. So over here the choice is material B. The evidence is the distance traveled by the oil is the most, which is for material B. The reasoning is because B absorbs the most oil, and you want your kitchen towel to be the one that is absorbing the most oil. State two variable of the strip. So this thing, this variable that you're going to propose, right, it must be because of this strip. This one very important. That has to be kept the same. So the essential flat test, you definitely need to make sure that the thickness as well as the length, must be the same. You cannot have different length, then it might affect the distance traveled by the oil. So any variable that affect the distance traveled by the oil, right, must be kept the same, because you don't want your result to be affected by this variable. The length as well as the thickness. If you say something like the amount, the length of the strip that is being dipped in the water, no. The length of the strip being dipped in the water cannot, because we are talking about the strip itself. We do not want to interfere with the oil. So the diagram shows a row of kitchen towel. State a property of the material that allowed the kitchen towel to be rolled up. This is your clue, to be rolled up. That means you must choose a property that is related to this. You have a few property. Strong weight related to strength, flexibility. It cannot be waterproof anymore because it's or even absorbent, because it's already answered in part A. Usually this part will be another property. You cannot talk about transparency because nothing to do with light. So the most probable one, because you are bending, the clue is you are bending, you must be flexible. So we are really asking for the term flexible. So if you give flexibility, this is wrong. This is a noun. They are really asking for an adjective to describe the material. So flexibility, wrong. So if how do you know when to write flexibility or flexible? Usually when they ask state a property, right, that means they want an adjective. If they say state the property that is being tested, they are asking for a noun. And if you want to further conclude, you can actually check. You can check it in this way. The kitchen towel has to be flexibility in order to roll up. Doesn't make sense, right? So if you put this, the kitchen towel has to be flexible in order for it to be able to roll up. That sounds more logical. So that's why we will use the word flexible instead of flexibility in this case. Let us move to question number 20. Question number 20 is a question related to photosynthesis. Clarissa found two types of living things, L and M, in a pond. She wanted to find out whether they are animal or plant. She filled up 3 glass tubes A, B, C with pond water. She placed living thing L in A, living thing M in B. The tubes were kept in well-lit room. That means she's trying to tell you that there's light, and it's even shown in the diagram. She added a drop of liquid Q into each tube. When liquid Q was added, the color of water changed according to the amount of carbon dioxide. Each number represents different color. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until 7. So now you have after 2 hours, right, the color is being recorded. The colors tells you the amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, so based on Clarissa's answer, which living thing L and M is most likely to be a plant? Okay, now you know that there's two living things, plant and animal. Okay, and the main idea is that the plant will take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and the plants will produce carbon dioxide during respiration. So when the plants take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, okay, the tube will have less carbon dioxide. Okay, when the animal produce carbon dioxide, the tube inside will have more carbon dioxide. And then now, how do you know whether more or less? You have to use the number now. And that is where your tube C come in. Okay, tube C sit very nicely over here. Okay, it actually acts as a reference point for you to know whether more or less carbon dioxide, because tube C, right, is the part there is no living thing, so the amount of carbon dioxide remain constant, and that the amount of carbon dioxide is actually inside found in the pond water. So anything after 2 hours, anything that is 5, 6, 7, right, it shows that there is more carbon dioxide. Anything that is 1, 2, 3, it shows that it has less carbon dioxide. So using this idea, you take a look. A got 2, so match here. So this one 2. Okay, this one will be 1, 2, 1, 2 or 3. Okay, okay. For tube, for the one with the animal, it must be 5, 6 or 7. 5, 6 or 7. Because 4 is the part, if you don't put any living thing, right, the amount of carbon dioxide after 2 hours will still remain as 4, because there is nothing produced, nothing being used up. Okay, so over here you probably know which one is already a plant, because plants take in carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and the one which will have the less carbon dioxide, and it should fall into this range of figure. Okay, the only one that falls into this range of figure is tube A. Okay, so which one is most likely to be plant? It will be L, because they already tell you L is found inside A. Okay? It's not living thing A. Okay, the tube is A, but the living thing is L and M. Okay, so it should be in this manner. Living thing L will be the plant. And the evidence is, you know that the amount of carbon dioxide decreases. Okay, it went down. Why it went up? Because it was used up by the plant, and only plants can use up carbon dioxide during the process of photosynthesis. Okay? Okay, so the plants took in carbon dioxide during photosynthesis when there is light. Okay? There are a few things that are very important. So for example, this carbon dioxide, or took in carbon dioxide, photosynthesis, light. Okay? So this is your concept behind that, took in carbon dioxide. Okay? So now for part B, tube C is a control setup. Okay? Control, then they tell you a number 4. Okay? Explain the purpose of having a control setup. You need to have a control, because if you don't have control, you don't know whether the tube after 2 hours did increase or decrease. Okay? You don't know. Okay? Because it's difficult for you to compare. Without the 4, it's very you can't compare. Okay? Maybe both of them will have 2. Okay, because originally maybe the pond water already have very little amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, so over here, what is the purpose of this control setup? There is always a few ways to write a control, the purpose of control setup, and this is one way. Okay, so you can say the purpose of the control setup is to compare and confirm. Compare and confirm that the changes in the measured variable. So this part you have to change. Okay, it's only due to the change variable. And this part you have to change. You cannot just write this in your answer and not due to other variable. So over here, the changes in measured variable will be the amount of carbon dioxide. It's not the color of water. You are using the color of water to tell the amount of carbon dioxide. So that will be the main measured variable. So it should be amount of carbon dioxide. Okay, to compare and confirm that the amount of carbon dioxide in tube A and B, okay, is only due to the type of living thing, okay, which is the plant or animal, okay, and not due to other variable. So in this case, you can write your answer in this way to compare and confirm that the changes in the amount of carbon dioxide in tube A and B is only due to the type of living thing and not due to other variable in the experiment. Okay, so but in the exam, let's say you don't have time, you can just write this part. It's good enough. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Suggest a number for the color of water in tube A and B after 2 hours if she have conducted in the dark room. Okay, in the dark room, the animals, okay, will still have to use up will still have to produce, not use up, will still have to produce carbon dioxide, and the carbon dioxide will increase. So the value will always be 5 to 7. Okay, for tube B, 5 to 7. Now for the plant, it should be in this manner. For the plant, when there is no light, the plants will respire. And when they respire, they will produce carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide will increase. When they increase, it will always be more than 4 because 4 is the reference point. So it's either 5 or 7. So the answer is actually 5 to 7. Any number between 5 to 7. Okay? So they are actually the same answer, okay, for this part. Okay. Question number 21. Diagram 1 shows the side view of Ravi toy car. He set up an electrical circuit in the toy car using bulb Q, switch S1, some battery. So total there is 2 batteries and 1 switch and 1 light bulb. All the components are working, and let's take a look. Okay, basically diagram 1 tell you about the side view of the car, and diagram 2 show you the electrical circuit. So when you close switch 1, the bulb never light up. Okay, you cannot say the bulb spoil because I already tell you that everything is working. Okay, use a pencil below to draw a circuit inside the toy car below to correct the mistakes. Okay, notice can be singular or plural, but usually you say 2 marks. There must be 2 mistakes. Okay, so you can use this as a guide. Okay, such that the bulb can light up. So you take a look at this part at the original circuit. Okay, so electricity will flow from the positive all the way to the negative, right? Okay, this part. Okay, maybe I should use this. So electricity flow from here. Okay, then it has to come out from here because it must be connected to the tip and casing. So that's the first mistake. Okay, then the second mistake is that you take a look if this is correct, connected properly. Electricity, let's say, pass through here. Actually, pass through here, connected properly. It is facing positive to positive. So the battery over here, it tells you that the battery is connected wrongly. Okay, so it must be positive to negative in this manner so that to allow the battery to work. So one rule of thumb is that if the picture gives you this, you will need to draw this. Okay, but if you want, you can draw this as well. Okay, if you want, you can draw this as well. Okay, so I will draw this part, but I will flip the battery around. Okay, so I'll draw this. I'll draw the battery in first. So instead of the battery facing this way, right, which is wrong, I will flip the battery around. Okay, flip the battery around and draw in the switch. The switch can be at the same position. S1. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay, so sorry, this part is wrong. I have to, because I'm flipping the top part, this part have to be here. Okay, because over here this is positive, this is negative. So the electric current must flow in this manner. Positive to negative, then the other one positive, back to negative. Okay, so this should be the correct way. Okay, let me just fill in this part. Okay. Okay, from the casing then to the tip. Okay, make sure that the whole thing or the whole circuit there is no gaps. Okay, no gap. Number 2, bulb connected between the tip and casing. Number 3, the battery are connected properly, okay, or correctly. Okay, that means positive to negative, positive to negative. Okay, especially you have to check this part and this part. Okay, see whether they are correct. Okay, so that will be the main answer for this part. Okay, that will be for part A. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, Ravi wanted to change the design of his car. He repositioned bulb Q and added 3 more bulb RTU. Okay, so now total got 4 bulb and 2 switch. 2 switches. Okay, so this is the design of the design of the car has been given in the diagram. The bulb in the toy car will light up as shown in the table. When all 4 bulbs are lit up, they are equally bright. Okay, they are equally bright. Okay, so these are the information given, right? Okay, so you probably know that some switches they are connected next to the bulb. Some switches they are connected next to the battery. Okay, for example, you take a look at this. When I close certain switch, certain bulb light up, certain bulb did not light up in this case. So this can be quite complicated, but they already draw the circuit for you. You just need to mark X and label. Okay, so 2 things, mark and label. Okay, the position of the switches. So number 1, before you look into the data, let's take a look into the circuit first. Okay, the circuit is in this manner. Okay, so the electricity flow through here. This could be one way, right? The electricity can flow. The electricity can also flow in another manner. Okay, so you can see that there is actually 2 paths that the electricity can flow through in this parallel circuit. So number 1 is the red color one. This is number 1. Number 2 is the blue color. And number 3, this part is the part that you need to know. There is a path where the blue and the red color share. Okay, and I'm talking about this part over here. Okay, let me highlight in green. This is number 3. This is the path where all the electricity will need to flow through, whether you are the red color path or the blue color path. So that means, right, if you put any switch over here, right, the green color circle, right, you can control all 4 bulbs. You can control all 4 bulbs to whether like it, to turn it on or to turn it off. Okay, so let me just erase this part first. Okay, then now we take a look at data. Okay, this is or at least this is for number 3. Control all 4 bulbs. Okay, how about number 1? Okay, number 1 you probably can control Q and R. Okay, number 2, which is this part over here, you can control T and U. So I can divide them into these few positions. Okay, so let's take a look at the information. Okay, that's given. Okay, so over here the information can be quite complex. So let's take a look at switch 1. Okay, when it's closed, Q and R light up. So it seems to fulfill the first path, which is this. Okay, but let's take a look at further. Okay, when switch 1 is closed and switch 2 is closed, all of them light up. Okay, this is not surprising. If you have all the switch closed, that means all of them must light up. Okay, so maybe I'll just strike off this. This information seems a bit redundant. Let's take a look at the last part. When 1 is open, 2 is closed. Okay, all of them does not light up. This is the interesting. Okay, it tells you what? Okay, look at the open one. The open one will tell you that it probably control all 4 bulbs. So this one must tell you that this must lie in the path of 3 and not 1 anymore. So S1, right, can be here. S1 can be here. S1 can be here because it controls all 4 bulbs. Okay, so it must be this. So the trick over here is look at the one that is open. Look at the open switch, because the open switch, right, you look at the nose, it tells you which bulbs it controls over. And you notice that this 2 will control this 2. This S2 will control this 2. Okay? Because when S2 is open, T and U does not light up. So over here, it should follow this path. Okay? So for S2 will be somewhere here. You can put it here also, it's also alright. You can also put it here. Any one of this position. Okay? So it cannot be, S1 cannot be here. S1 cannot be here. Okay? And this is due to the reason, if you take a look, S1 is open, S2 is closed, right? Okay? As S1 is open, if you put S1 here, and S1 is open, and S2 is closed, right? Then for the third condition, you will have T and U light up, but which is not the case. It does not light up. So S1 cannot be this number 1 path. S1 must be number 3 path, which is the one that I showed in the highlighted position, here to here. Here, this part. Okay, this is S1 and this is S2. Okay, so over here, this is the correct answer. Okay, let me just re-highlight them. Okay, S1 can be here, 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 and here. S2 can be here, here, or here. Okay, this will be the correct answer for this question. Okay, and mark cross and label. Okay, if you mark the cross but you don't label, you don't get the other mark. Okay, so over here, let's move on to the other question. 22. Okay, Stephen pulled back a rubber band with a slingshot with marble D. The diagram below shows the path of the marble after he released. So the marble was here, then the path to this path. Okay, so now when the marble X was released, marble D was observed to move upwards. So it tells you that the height above ground increases. Okay, and this happened, you can take a look, it should be at position X, okay, which is here. Okay, so fill in the blank to show the main energy conversion. Okay, so over here, so energy in the rubber band, so they tell you specifically rubber band, this one, it must be elastic potential. Okay, because it's being stretched. Okay, potential. Okay, this one is important, you have to write it down. Okay, okay, energy of the moving marble, already tell you moving marble, so kinetic. Okay, kinetic energy. Okay, and they tell you that there's only 1 box, so fill in 1 energy will do. Energy of marble at X. Okay, this one cannot be kinetic. Right? Because why? Because already tell you moving marble is already here. So what happened, right? This is actually your gravitational potential energy, because it is higher above ground. So some of the kinetic energy is actually converted to gravitational potential energy at point X in this case. Okay, so this will be the correct answer. So Stephen repeat the experiment using marble E. He wanted to find out if the mass of the marble will affect the distance moved by it. Okay, so you have 10 and 20 gram marble D and E. This is the number of try. He tried 3 times, and these are the results. Explain why Stephen's results are reliable. Okay, in this case, it is reliable is because okay, he did 3 times, and every time he do it, the result is more or less the same. Okay, 210, 2202, 206. Okay, 326, 332, 3202. It's not very far off. Okay, they are more or less the same. They are what we call very consistent. Okay, what is an unreliable result is when you get this kind of result. Let's say first time, second time, right? The third time he get this. This is unreliable. And okay, for this, let's say the result is 1000, then this is unreliable. Okay, okay, unreliable if this is the case. Okay, so in order to do this question, you need to know what is a reliable result and what is an unreliable result. Okay, so in this case, how do you really craft out your answer? You can talk about this. The experiment for each marble was repeated 3 times. So this is the first point. And the results are consistent. This is the second mark. Okay. The word consistent must be stated here. Okay, because that is the reason why we say a particular set of results is consistent or is reliable or unreliable. We use this basis. Whether the result is more or less the same or they are very far apart. Okay, so for this one is this one will be the key answer. Okay, so using the same slingshot without changing the angle at which the marble will release, suggest one changes to Stephen's experiment to allow marble E to move a longer distance. Okay, so for this, right, using the same without changing the angle. Okay, so you can talk about the slingshot itself. So either this person can pull back further. That's number one. Or the second reason is you can change to a stiffer rubber band, but then you stretch it to the same distance, okay, which is here. Because a stiffer rubber band will be harder to pull. So if you manage to pull it to the same distance, right, then you probably need to put in more energy, and the stiffer rubber band will have more elastic potential energy to begin with if you pull it to the same distance. Okay, pull to same distance. Okay, so this will be the answer. Okay, either you stretch the rubber band further back, okay, or use a stiffer rubber band. Okay, when the marble lands on the ground, it bounces a few times before finally stop. It was observed that the marble rebound height become less after each bounce. Means over here, the height become lower and lower until it reaches the ground. Every time it bounces, it gets lower and lower. Okay? Explain why the rebound height of the marble decreases with each bounce. Okay? So when you are bouncing this marble, the GPE is converted to KE over here when the marble is moving. But at this point, right, you will hear sound, okay? And you will also produce heat, okay? Because there is friction. Due to friction between the ball and the ground. Okay, so so in this case, so over here, right, some of the KE, right, will be converted to here. Some KE is converted to this. So the ball, right, when it bounces, right, it will bounce with less KE. When you have less KE and it's going up, it's going to convert to less GPE. So when you have less GPE, the upward bouncing marble, you will reach a lower height in this case. So there's really a few things to really digest this. Okay, so let me just write this down. So when the marble hit the ground, actually you don't have to talk about at the start. You can just say the moment when it hit the ground, some of the kinetic energy was converted to heat and sound. So the marble bounced upward with less kinetic energy, okay, which was converted in less GPE, causing it to reach to a lower height. So this will be part of the explanation. This will be point 1, this will be point 2. Okay, and it's quite lengthy one. Okay, let me highlight the main portion. Okay, some of its KE was converted to heat and sound, so it bounced upward with less KE, converted into less GPE, reach a lower height. Okay, give a reason why the ball stopped. Stop means not moving. Not moving means no kinetic energy, no more KE. Where did all the energy gone to? Okay, you cannot say lost because energy is never created nor destroyed. Okay, so it will always be converted. But converted to what? Heat and sound. Okay, but this heat and sound, they are quite useless. You can't really use them to do some form of meaningful work. Okay, it's just being converted, but it is just there, but you can't really use it. Okay, so all the kinetic was converted to heat and sound energy. Okay, let me just fill in this part. Okay, there was no kinetic left, and there was no kinetic energy left in the marble. That's why the marble stopped bouncing. Okay, this is something that you can try. Even if you have a free time, you take a marble, you drop from some height. After a while, the marble just stop bouncing because all of that kinetic energy in the marble just converted to heat and sound. So, and there was no more kinetic energy left in the marble. That's why it stopped moving, stopped bouncing, just remain there. Okay, so this part will be the part of energy conversion. Okay, let's move on to this part. Question number 23. A farmer conducted an experiment using two similar plants. He removed an outer ring from the stem of one of the plants. They even tell you that outer ring is food carrying tube. Water carrying tube remain in the stem, remain intact. Okay, the outer ring removed. Okay, then this is how it looks like. After some time, the two plants produce fruit as shown. Okay, the one that is removed and the one that is uncut. And you notice one thing, they even tell you that this one is bigger. Okay, this one is smaller. Okay, the farmer observed that the fruit that the plant with the outer ring of the stem removed produced bigger than the other plant. Suggests why the bigger fruits was produced. Okay, so over here these are the key concepts, and this is related to plant transport system. Okay. Food made in the leaf is transported to other parts through the food carrying tube. This is the key idea. And second one is food is stored in the fruits. So this is the key writing part. Okay, from where? Okay, this food come from where? It comes from the leaf. It have to go through what? These are the tubes. And to where? Okay, so originally, if you take a look, all the food originally, some of the food will be transported down to the roots, right? And the roots will use it to build more roots for the plant. But when you have this part removed, what happened over here is that the food that's come down, it cannot go down anymore because the food carrying tube is being removed. There's no tubes for the food to be transported, so it will make a U-turn to go to other parts of the plant. Other parts, what does it refers to? It refers to mainly the fruits or even the flower. Okay, to build this part. And of course, in this question, it is probably the fruit itself. Okay, so over here, what happened is that why suggests why bigger fruits were being produced, right? Because you have to say that the leaf which produced the food transferred to the food carrying tube, transferred through the food carrying tube to the roots, but it cannot be transport anymore. Cannot be, because there's no more food carrying tube. Okay, so this is how I would have write it. Okay, the food made in the leaf, okay, which is this part, cannot be transported through the food carrying tube. Through what? Okay, and ultimately to where? To the roots. In this case, it is to the roots based on the diagram. So you end up with more food. This part is important. Okay, because originally this food must be going to the roots, but because it cannot go to the roots, it go more to the fruits. Okay, it went up more to the fruits. Okay, this part is actually not required because the question is talking about bigger fruits. Okay, so this part will be good enough. Okay, this part will fulfill the answer. Okay, so more food is transported and stored in the fruit. Okay, causing the fruits to become bigger. Therefore, you will answer this part of the question. Okay, after some time, the plant died. Okay, give a reason why removing the outer ring of the stem caused the plant to die. How does it cause the plant to die in this case? Okay, so basically, if the roots do not receive food, without roots, the plant cannot absorb water and it will eventually die. Okay, so in this case, right, if this farmer would remove partially, right, there will be still some that goes to the roots, but in this case less, the roots still can survive and the whole plant will still die. But in this case, because the farmer removed all the food carrying tube, there's no food going to the roots. So without without the roots itself, right, the whole plants cannot absorb water and the whole plants die off. Okay, because over here, if the leaf have no water, cannot photosynthesize. Cannot photosynthesize, whole plant do not have food. So therefore, die. This is the main relationship. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to the last question. So besties tie one end of the string to a wooden block and the other end to a small pail. Okay, so just place the wooden block on the table as shown and drop identical coin one at a time. So the coin are being dropped here. So the coin will eventually be will try to pull the wooden block towards this direction. Okay, so the pail was only moved downwards when the 8 coin was added. When the 8 coin was added, and the wooden block was pulled on the table. That means when you put 7 coin or 1 to the 7, right, the wooden block remain. Okay, stay here and was unmoved. It did not move at all. It was stationary. So state the effect of the pulling force acting on the wooden block. This is the effect of force. So total there is actually 6 effects. So you can actually move an object. You can speed up. You can slow down. You can even change direction. You can cause an object to stop. Okay, so these are the effects, okay, that we are talking about in terms of force. So the most obvious is to, in this case, is to move an object. Okay, to move an object. Oh. Okay, move an object that is originally not moving in a certain direction. Okay, move a stationary object. So this will be the answer. Okay, other than the pulling force, state the 2 other forces acting on the wooden block. Okay, draw an arrow in each diagram to show the direction of the force. Okay, so first up, okay, as long as you are on Earth, there will always be gravity. Okay, gravitational force. So the gravitational force is always downwards. So this will be how you will represent it in this drawing. Let's draw a downwards arrow. Okay. Another force is called friction. Friction poses motion or movement. So if the motion is in this way, the friction will be in this way. Okay. And why is it has to be here? Because it's between the table and the wooden block. So you have to draw it here. Okay, you have to draw it in this direction. Or a better way to draw this, right, is here. Okay, but sometimes your teacher cannot see it, so you can draw slightly a little bit below. Okay, so that to make sure your teacher can actually see the arrows that are drawing, because the line maybe may not be so clear if you draw it on the line. Okay, so this is frictional force and gravity. Okay, so Betsy is apply a thin layer of oil on the tabletop and repeat the whole experiment. Would the number of coins needed to move the pail downward be less or more? You cannot. In this case, it will not be the same. So the main idea of oil, right, it reduces friction. Okay. In this case, it will require less. Okay, because now there's less friction, it's easier to pull them. Okay, it's easier to pull them. So the main reasoning is that the oil reduces friction between the wooden block and the table. This must be stated. So it becomes easier to pull them. You actually need less coin to be able to pull them. So maybe last time you need 8, now you need maybe 5 or 6, okay, to be able to pull down the same block of mass down the table. So we have more or less come to the end of this paper. So please review it and take a look at your mistake.